All right, nerds, let's get this over with. My Donald Trump dating simulator is almost finished compiling.
Donald, you are so predictable. Couldn't you stick to making bots that scrape Joe's campaign website instead of this? What the hell are you even building this in?
Unreal Engine. Like every other game developer, unless they're stupid. I don't even have to pay royalties because of the crooked logic statements that you put out in your presidency, Obama. But goddamn, this shit takes longer to build than the wall.
That's your ego, Donald. We all know that dependency is 50 gigabytes big.
Wrong. Even C++ struggles to chew through all my sex tapes, Joe.
Fine, but we both know those bots are scraping Ivanka's OnlyFans website.
Oh, okay, gentlemen, can we be more civil, please? I find what you just said heinous, Trump, but for the sake of democracy, I am going to start this list. C is a very important programming language and really defines where the medium went. I am feeling a strong A tier on
Shut up, Obama. Where is your birth certificate? What? Everyone knows that C is the worst programming language to exist, maybe ever. If I hear another tech lead telling me to type my variables again or create classes instead of using just plain old functions, I am going to lose
Trump C doesn't even have class.
This stupid fucking language could have only originated in California. Edgar Dijkstra told me this, and it's so true. C is just a glorified assembly language.
Donald, this is why people don't know how to code anymore. You are using the words assembly language as a dog whistle to generate hatred for C when you don't even know what those words mean. I have been cooking in C ever since MIT.
You didn't go to MIT, Joe. You didn't even go to college. You took a 2-week programming boot camp on Udemy, and suddenly you think you've been coding since 1956.
Shut up, Donald. Let me cook. C was the pioneer, the language that changed the world. The iPhone that you tweet with at 5 a.m. was probably coded with it, and even my hairy legs in your video game can be rendered in it.
I have to agree with Joe here. Everything that was made after C is just an extension of it. C can do everything, and it gives you control of the low-level resources in your computer. I think I may be the only one in the universe, but I personally love allocating and deallocating memory.
When the fuck would you ever need to do that, Obama? Let me tell you something. The programmers of this country demand that pointers be removed from every language they still exist in. It has to be the most overhyped thing since Obamacare.
Donald, I was going to keep this civil, but Obamacare had thorough integration tests and had 80% unit test coverage.
Keep telling yourself that, Barack. Maybe if you didn't code that program in Python, it may have worked out for you.
Whatever. C programmers stay winning. Put it in S tier, Obama.
Oh my God, this conversation is already giving me cancer. For the sake of fairness and democracy, I will settle for the A tier.
I think it's a disgrace what's been done here. I and many others have gotten great karma on Reddit for shitting on this language. You and Sleepy Joe can enjoy being the only people in America who like programming in C.
Take the L, Donald. We're moving on. Okay, C++.
S tier.
Trump, how are you going to talk shit about C but put C++ in S tier? They're practically the same language.
Wrong. I know the creator of C++, Bjarne Stroustrup. He's a great, great guy. Also, people on Twitter say that my wife Melania is the ++ version of your wife Joe, so it's worthy of such a ranking.
Fuck you, Donald, but don't let him talk you out of it, Obama. Put it up there.
Fine, okay. Donald, your constant attacks and reprimands on Joe here are really slowing us down. But for once, I am going to take logic and the Dabaruski and put C++ in S tier. We're moving on to a potentially more pretentious one here. Strap yourselves in, gentlemen. In the 2008 classic by Uncle Bob, The Programmer's Bible Clean Code, it states that all code must be readable even by those suffering from leprosy, understandable by both thy neighbor and thy enemy, and covered with unit tests like the commandments written on Moses' stone. But let us not forget that, above all else, code must never be without sense. And for that reason, I'm going to put JavaScript in D.
What the fuck?
Here we fucking go.
You're fucking going to put JavaScript in D? Really? You are a big fat liar, Obama. When we sat down together at the Oval Office, you said to me that JavaScript was the finest programming language you had ever seen.
I never said that, Trump. Like every other JavaScript developer, I think you're in your own fucking universe. JavaScript isn't the only language that can create websites, you know? Python
Don't
can
fucking
also...
finish that sentence. You called it the gold standard of programming languages, Barack, the gold standard. And then you heard what Uncle Bob said about it, and suddenly you're against it. Modern JavaScript frameworks run the world, and unless you want to fall behind, you need to be making your big, beautiful user interfaces in it.
That's mad cope Trump, and you know it. You can't judge how good a language is by its user base, when it pretty much is the only thing available. Literally every article on Medium.com shits on it. Nothing is strictly typed. You can perform numeric operations on arrays and objects and actually receive a valid output.
Skill issue.
The fact is, Donald, that everything you have said so far is simply cap. I am the Democratic Party right now, and I'm telling you that JavaScript is only popular because of its libraries and frameworks. It can't stand on its own. And for God's sake, it has Angular, the worst framework ever made in the history of our country. Have you tried making anything in it, Donald? It has more boilerplate code than my son Hunter has cocaine. That's what makes it mid, Jack.
I think my son, Donald Trump Jr., would give Hunter a run for his money, Joe. And if you actually went to college, you would know that Angular isn't even that bad.
That's it, Obama. Get him off the call. By saying that, he just lost all credibility with the American people. It's because of people like you, Donald, that we have the absolute shit show that is the JavaScript entry-level positions, unrealistic expectations, and unmanageable fucking frameworks. You should be ashamed, and it's no wonder that every day 500 senior developers apply for a junior-level position.
I'm just going to put JavaScript in C tier, you hooligans, and we are moving on.
Just so you know, our great firewall was built in JavaScript by verified software engineering interns. And Joe, if you really think that's an issue, maybe you shouldn't be letting so many people across the border with computer science degrees, let me tell you.
Donald, they teach you the same thing in both degrees. Software engineering was just sprung up by you and all your rich friends in academia to get more money out of students who are already struggling. Bad take, man. Go spend another year partying in college while the rest of us do real work in C.
Software engineering and computer science degrees are different degrees, Joe. And you're too afraid to even say those words because of the woke, radical engineers in Silicon Valley.
All right, gentlemen, shut up. We are moving on to my favorite framework now. Python, it's going straight to S tier.
I got to agree, Barack. Python is so much fun to code in. I feel like I enter a new world every time I step in. And oh my God, pip installing -r your requirements.txt file is so much fun. My little grandkids love jumping on my lap and coding in it.
This is just fucking ridiculous. No wonder you, Obama, and the grandkids love it. Because let me tell you, this language was made for total babies. You have actual adults calling their library pandas. And also, Python runs slower than even you, Joe, and that's really saying
Look, Trump,
something.
the vast majority of people who program with pandas are good, decent, honorable men and women. They risk their careers every day to program for us. Python deserves to be considered up at the top with C.
You are so wrong, Joe. How you managed to indent your code without breaking all your shit at your age is beyond me. What the pandas code base needs is law and order. It just goes to show that even if you have the best coders in the world, with Python, you would have thought that Antifa programmed it.
Look, Donald, just so you know, the AI models that are powering our speech right now were probably made using Python. Have some fucking respect before someone at 11 Labs kills your Docker container. And even if I agree with some of the things you said, there is no denying the impact Python has had on the coding communities and how accessible complex algorithms have become. I am leaving it in the S tier.
Fine, I will allow Python to get to S tier, but you better be putting Swift right up there as well.
Look, I don't care too much for it. I develop completely responsive web apps in Ionic, like a G. But if it will make you happy, Donald, then I will put it up there for you, okay?
Good, maybe there is hope for you, Obama.
Donald wouldn't know UX unless he took a wrong turn. He only cares about himself and has no intention of making the lives of the people who use his applications better. If he did, he would be making his apps with Flutter and Google Material.
Joe, you are the reason why programmers don't get laid. Swift is the best language for making mobile applications to ever exist. I look at Google Material and I think it's so sad what is happening to Google Material. I am no Apple sheep, but the iPhone is a big, beautiful piece of American technology. And unless you want to develop applications for the spies over at Huawei, then you should hand in your resignation of HR manager of this country.
That's it, Donald. You have gone too fucking far. I may have not gone to college, but I'm still a full-fledged engineer, and I have the skills and experience to prove it. I am pruning this whole fucking system.
What the hell?
I just hacked into the White House virtual machines as a pseudo user with Python and C. Obama, I'm sorry, but I can't help it. You have to get wiped out, too. From here, I can't see which Docker container belongs to you or Trump. The White House can't waste any more CPU resources on these stupid garbage takes. The virtual machines are running out of memory as well, and I got to make sure that I leave enough space for Kamala Harris's Docker container. Otherwise, I won't have anyone qualified to manage my deployment.
What the fuck, Joe? You can't tell the difference between Trump and I, but you know Kamala Harris's container ID off by heart?
You are a fucking simp, Joe. You mean to say to me you're giving up your autonomy? Where is your pride? Kamala Harris's Docker container is making you do millions and millions of console logs and print statements, and you don't even know the trash you're outputting anymore. You are a disgrace to containerization everywhere.
I am truly sad about this. I thought my time here would be longer, but I am still going to close this last White House stand-up by saying thank you. But not to you, Joe. You have been the worst fucking scrum leader in my whole career, and I worked at Amazon.
Fucking DevOps diff.